A woman hasn't raced in Formula One for 43 years.
18 women compete in 6 races across Europe.
A new generation of women drivers are determined to take on the men at their own game.
It's time for women's motorsport.
We want the best to go into Formula One in future years.
You will find out those who think they've got the commitment and those who truly have the commitment.
Welcome to W Series.
And she spun around. Huge crash there.
Successful drivers don't have to be male.
Jamie Chadwick, Marta Garcia, Emma Kymäläinen.
There's a racing superstar within the ranks.
If W Series doesn't succeed, we would have let down a whole generation.
This sport isn't segregated. If you want to make a living as a racing driver and you want to make your way in the sport, you need to compete against men and you need to show that you're good enough to compete against men.
Absolutely everything has to be done right, because as soon as there's a hole in something, it's going to get picked on by the press and by the racing world, and it's going to be made a laughingstock.
I just don't think it's fair that women have to be put into a segregated series to try and prove themselves.
At the end of the day, the best racing drivers in the world are men. Whether you like that or not, that's the way it is.
Before the starting grid for W Series has even been chosen, the backlash has begun. 54 of the world's top women drivers were invited to Austria for 3 days of rigorous assessments, as they fought to make it through to the final selection process. Now, just 28 remain to battle it out for the 18 available seats in this groundbreaking new competition. But first, it's time to face the detractors.
The W Series is a new competition only for women drivers, and it's causing a storm in the world of motorsport. Why? Because racing cars has never been segregated. Until now. And with me in the studio, the CEO and brainchild of the W Series, Catherine Bonmier, a driver down to the last 28 hopefuls in the W Series, Brit Jamie Chadwick, and former driver turned journalist Sophie Williamson-Stoddart. So Catherine, if I can come to you first of all, why is it needed?
The numbers of women in Formula One have spoken for themselves. We know that there have been 900 drivers in Formula One and only 2 have been women. W Series would be wrong if there were even 30% of women involved in motorsport, but the percentage is tiny. It's maybe 1%, 2%, 3%. We've got to change that.
I think if you're bookending loads of drivers who are already professional and getting on in their career and then putting them into a series where they may not actually ever progress from, I just don't think it's fair that women have to be put into a segregated series to try and prove themselves. I think that's quite heartbreaking in my opinion.
But girls that wouldn't have had the opportunity otherwise, that have got raw talent, got this natural ability that, you know, put them in an F3 car, the first day they're not going to be necessarily as quick as the girls that have had the experience, but come the end of the W Series and come the last round at Brands Hatch in August, they could be the next superstar, they could be the next Lewis Hamilton, and just no one's ever had the opportunity and found that out.
As the arguments rage on, Jamie Chadwick and her fellow W Series hopefuls head to Spain and this, the arid, twisting Circuito de Almería. Here, the 28 hopefuls from 16 countries will face 4 days of testing to decide the W Series starting grid.
I'm not nervous at all, I'm just so excited to get in there.
You know, there's 3 Americans here. I'd like to be the best American.
The nerves are really heavy. I haven't slept last night.
The biggest challenge, the biggest pressure, the biggest push, all eyes on us.
I'm really confident. I don't need to be the best here, but just enough to make it until the 18.
I'm not scared about anything. Yeah, I just enjoy. High speed, it's exciting.
It would be the fruition of an impossible dream that many of them have given up on, or was beyond their reach. And it's happening.
This is all about performance, it's about potential, and really trying to see who our top 18 women are going to be.
This is serious now. The role of women in motorsport is at stake here.
Leading the assessments, ex-Formula One driver David Coulthard and W Series racing director Dave Ryan.
We've got 4 days to run 28 drivers, and the goal is to give them plenty of opportunity to demonstrate how good they are, their rate of improvement, and then at the end of that we will end up with 18 drivers for the grid at Hockenheim. So it's going to be pretty intense.
You can't win it today, but you can lose it, okay? So just take it steady.
The women are competing here in a Tata's Formula 3 chassis, and the reason we chose that is it's right in the middle of the stepping stone from where you enter car racing and below Formula 1. So it's the perfect level to really assess the talent. These cars are going to be running over 150 miles an hour on a lot of the racetracks that they're competing on, so it's serious.
The drivers are divided into groups, and each group must wait their turn for a session on the track. As in F1 qualifying, each driver is trying to post the fastest lap time.
It's a really bizarre, crazy, fast, tight circuit, so they've pretty much thrown everything at us.
14 corners to learn, so it's a lot to take in.
Fair bit of pressure on the drivers, which will ramp up over the days.
But one driver loving the pressure is Britain's Alice Powell, back in a single-seater after an enforced time-out.
Show me lines, man, show me lines.
If you look at someone like Alice Powell, in 2012, she was the first female driver to get points in GP3. Alice hasn't been able to get into a single-seater for 4 years.
Waste, did he take the waste up?
No, you take the basin, the heaviest thing.
Standard. A normal day in the life of me is just going to work with my dad. So today, just putting in a new sink because
Basin's in the bathroom, sink's in the kitchen.
Oh, OK, sorry. Just doing bathroom renovations, unblocking toilets, finding dead rats that people can't find in their home.
When I was in the building trade, she used to like to come along and help me and get in the way.
For the past 4 years, it's been a lot more full-time. I mean, my racing was a lot busier when I first started. The reason it stopped was just money. I won 2 championships in cars, Formula Renault and then Formula Renault Asia. It just got so expensive after racing in GP3. It was extremely frustrating, really, really frustrating. I was still going to racetracks quite a lot because I was doing my coaching. That was tough because you'd see people you've been racing against that I'd actually have beaten, they were out racing. I've kept myself really busy working, and now me and James are trying to save for a mortgage as well, so I've got to keep the work up, otherwise I'll be getting some stick, I think. Oh, we're getting the kettle on, that's a good idea.
Hello, how are you? You all right?
Okay. This is a big deal for me. I haven't been racing for 3 years, so I've really missed the buzz. I'm so happy to be back in.
Alice gets off to a great start, but 1 or 2 others are also making a big impression.
Marta, she's done a good job. I think she's been doing a bit of testing in Formula 3.
Marta Garcia's in my group, so she's really fast.
For somebody that doesn't talk very much, she's fast as shit. I thought it was gonna be harder because I was told by so many people who drive this car that it was so heavy, but it's not that hard.
But it's another driver setting the early pace.
You really want to say name, don't you? I suppose Jamie Chadwick, she's had a lot of experience recently.
I think for sure Jamie Chadwick. She's raced British F3 for the past 2 years. She came into day 2 and she was fast.
Jamie Chadwick, she's definitely quick. I think that comes also with experience. She's obviously ready for this kind of opportunity, and all props to her for that.
Jamie Chadwick, already a domestic champion, is looking to expand her motorsport experience.
So today we are back in London ahead of a busy few weeks. So I'm going to head over to the Veloce offices, see Rupert, catch up. My parents have backgrounds working in the city. I don't think they were expecting me to go down the motorsport route at all. As 12 years old when I started karting, it was purely my older brother that sparked the interest, and then it kind of escalated very quickly. I was 14 and I won the Janetta Junior Scholarship, which gave me a fully funded season. I won the British GT Championship, Silverstone 24-hour race in 2015, British F3 race in 2018, and MRF Championship over the winter, all against men. So up until this point in my career, I think I must have raced against 2 or 3 women maximum.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
What's new?
When I wanted to go into Formula 3, my parents said, you're going to have to find the backing yourself. I remember coming in here with nothing on the table, almost desperate in a way to try and get something together to go racing again. And fortunately, they sort of bought into it and supported me thereon. And yeah, it was the start of a pretty great relationship.
But to take part in W Series took more convincing.
When they first announced it, I was like, brilliant, sounds like a fantastic platform. But you were so anti it. You're like, oh, I'm not sure, because you've spent your whole life racing with boys, and you had a lot of people in your ear. I was like, none of those people are going to pay for your racing, Jamie. Simple as that. And these guys are, and they're going to give you the best opportunity to show your talent.
I wasn't overwhelmed by the idea. I just didn't really see the need for it. But actually, yeah, I quite quickly had my head turned.
It's the fact that you've proven toe-to-toe with the guys that you can beat them all. And now what W Series is giving as a platform is perfect for us. It is perfect timing. Of all the women racing drivers on the planet right now, we see Jamie as the best prospect to go to Formula 1, simple as that.
Back in Almeria, even the best F1 prospects are fallible.
We don't really know, but we've heard there's been like a pit exit accident, but it wasn't me, so it's okay.
There's obviously a bit of damage on the car, so I've got to go buy the boys a beer maybe. And also I've hurt my wrist a little bit, so we'll see.
Jamie's uncharacteristic error sees her summoned to face a man who's seen it all during his 40-plus years in motorsport.
Dave Ryan, hard taskmaster. Tough to please, tough to impress.
Tough cracker, like he knows what he's doing.
Interesting guy, super hard to read.
They're all struggling in the car, they're all getting tired. Some are a bit starstruck by it all.
Physically it's tough, and mentally there's so much to take in, but we're looking for those that are able to take on that challenge.
Every time there's a red flag, everyone has to stop. They come in again, the tyres get cold, and their rhythm goes to pot.
When this girl span in front of me, I really had to almost stop in the track not to get into her.
Everyone's pushing, everyone's trying their best. It does get a bit frustrating.
It's hard work because you can't build consistency because people are just flying off.
Coming into the last corner, just trying to get closer and closer to doing it flat out and went in the gravel.
I'd rather do higher lap times but consistent than do one fast lap time and then flying off 2-3 times, because that's what some people are doing, and I just think it's pathetic.
Yeah, if that's my session, I would be pissed off, I'm not gonna lie. 8 red flags, it's a bit much, it's a bit silly.
And it's not long before the next casualty.
Someone lost a wheel. Someone lost a wheel on the installation lap, and we were all here to face it.
So yeah, that's not given us a lot of confidence.
We had an issue with, we lost the left rear tire, so I'm about, 21 laps behind pretty much everybody else. Knocked my confidence a little bit simply because I didn't get the track time that I was hoping to get. I have a lot to risk, so I just need to be calculated in what I do, stay focused, and most importantly, keep a smile on my face and have fun, because I am an emotional person.
Are you happy this morning? Yeah.
I was fortunate to grow up in a family that was very loving and supportive and would do anything for me. I'm an only child, so I'm used to getting my way and getting what I want just because I'm the only kid in the family. I started racing in a very unconventional way. I was a nationally ranked competitive water skier, and how I transitioned into racing, I did a NASCAR experience at Daytona International Raceway when I was 16. I did this ride along, and I remember being in the high banks of Daytona for the first time ever, and just thinking like how exhilarating it was. And that day moving forward, I knew that I wanted to get into race car driving. We created Shea Racing simply really to support my career. I was able to build my brand, market and work with more affiliates, sponsors, and partners. This is actually, again, a little bit busted up, but this was my 2017 Honda Accord that we ran in Pirelli World Challenge. I guess you would say if you're not rubbing, it's not racing, and this definitely takes that to the extreme. This is my first ever professional win from the Long Beach Grand Prix. They consider it the most prestigious street course in America. So that one, of course, you're just never gonna forget. So Nick and I have been here for a year. We're still kind of moving in, but we have the majority of things. You can actually see on the wall here, that was our wedding day. So that's a special memory for us. I had heard about the W Series through a good friend of mine. When I inquired, I actually had some conversations with both Catherine and Dave Ryan, and they were who really convinced me that, frankly, I would be stupid not to just apply.
In Almeria, Shea recovers to survive day 3, but China's Grace Gui is out, and Dutch driver Milou Metz is next to see Dave Ryan.
The reality of the situation is you're just too far off the pace. I think the right thing for me to do is to say, look, this is the end of your dream, really.
Yeah.
For this year at least.
Yeah. It's harsh, but that's what competition is, you know. It's real life, and it reflects what it's going to be when you go and race.
I'm proud of myself, but sad, of course. I mean, if you have a big dream, you want to go for it, so I'm sorry.
Day 4. With 2 gone, 26 drivers assemble for the final day's testing, and a pep talk that comes with a twist.
Morning, everybody. I've been watching you lot for the last 3 days. We've got to the point now where I'm comfortable that 12 of you are going to go through. This whole event is about getting the right 18 drivers on the grid for Hockenheim.
There are 12 drivers that are going through now. Miki Koyama. Saber Cook.
First person I'm gonna call is my dad. He's up right now. It's like 3 a.m. where he is back in the States, so he like hasn't slept, I'm sure.
Alice Powell.
Whoa! I'm just so excited. Like, I am literally so excited, absolutely buzzing.
Emma Kimilainen. Fabian Wolvend. Jamie Chadwick.
Absolutely excited to be through. Place on the grid is everything I've sort of dreamed about since I sort of signed up to the W Series.
Jamie and Alice, both safely through.
Caitlin Wood.
As the final 6 names are read out.
Vaitsky Visser. Vicky Piria. Megan Gills.
12 places for the W Series starting grid confirmed. Just 6 spots now up for grabs.
Don't look so despondent. You've all got a great chance still. I need another 6 drivers. The 12 drivers, we're putting them to one side, and we're taking the next 14 drivers, and we're giving them the car each on the track at the same time, with the same tyres, same fuel load. It will be a shootout, really. You have now got to go out and track and do your bit, okay? And you've all got a chance. But if you go off, your day's over.
It's now or never. The remaining 14 have just 3 sessions to prove themselves.
So I'm a bit like emotional, a bit angry, a bit also like stressed, but also motivated.
I'm trying not to think about it too much. I just want to improve on myself and obviously try and get better.
I think everybody's handling it in a different way. So some were in tears, some are really panicked. So I'm just going out there and doing what I know how to do. That's it.
I'm not sure you can publish that, but stop the start the good. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Session 1, and it's disaster for Shay.
Dave pulled my engineer, Mark, and I aside and said, you know, very bluntly, listen, Shay, we get it. You can be fast, but you haven't shown consistency.
Just calm down a bit. You've got one more chance, you know, I should really be...
And I think I recall just like uttering some words of, you know, thank you, I appreciate it. And his response was, no excuses.
Shay is given a reprieve. Now, with just one session left, the pressure intensifies.
There's a few drivers really stepped up the mark. Gauzia Rudest, she's doing really well, actually. Esme Hawkey's doing really well. Jessica, she's turned it on quite well, but she's got to carry on doing that. And this last session is it. They're not going to get another chance.
Freaking out slightly. It's the kind of unknown, and there's so much like riding on it. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, it's a big step up, but hopefully I've done enough.
Stunt driver Jess Hawkins is quick in the final session, but an unexpected complication means speed might not be enough to see her through.
I had an event at work that I really couldn't get out of.
You can be a major problem, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do? You know, you thoroughly deserve to be there. The times you cracked out today, you've got a great chance. But, you know, I need you to commit.
I can't say 100% now, but David said if I'd have missed any testing, that would have affected it. It was just a case of trying to move bits about.
You know what? You frustrate the hell out of me as well. You know, but I like it. I like your attitude. You're bloody cocky. You know, you're different.
I'm cocky.
You're cocky. You're different, you know, and you've demonstrated you've got talent and you're bloody quick. But I want you in the whole championship and I want you doing it properly and I want you to commit to doing that.
This is me committing.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're not going to let me down, because if you let me down, then I've let someone else down who should come through.
Yeah.
Jess looks to have her place secured, but back on track, time is running out for Shay.
Shay's put herself under a lot of pressure, and you can see that. This is real crunch time for them.
I remember the last session on track, and it wasn't 100% clear if like the session was over. I turned to my engineer and I said, please tell me it's over because I can't give anymore. I'm like, I've given my heart, I've given like, my physical ability is shot, like I am just mentally done. And he goes, okay, don't worry, it's over. And I'm like, thank God.
The end of the day. Time for Shay and her rivals to learn their fate.
Dave has particularly asked me to recognise how close it's been and how difficult this decision has been. So for those of you who don't make it through to the inaugural W Series Championship, don't give up. Motor racing's tough. For those of you who do make it through, congratulations. So the first driver to successfully go through, Gauzia Rudest. Tasman Pepper. Esme Hawkey. Jessica Hawkins. The fifth driver is Naomi Schiff.
Five names called, just one seat left.
The sixth and final driver successfully going through is Shay Holbrook.
When they called my name, I sat there for some time, and I know some of the girls were thinking, like, they called your name, get up. And I just needed a moment in my hands because I'm not a pretty crier, so I figured it would be better in my hands.
First I called my dad, he started crying with me, then I called my mom. She was behind the steering wheel, so she stopped and she was like hugging the phone, saying that she wished she would be here with me.
That was like a really beautiful moment for me and for my parents.
I'm like living out my dream, you know? There's the 2 best days of my life were marrying my husband and making the W Series in the inaugural season.
This is going to be fantastic for women in motorsport. We are going to be able to put a spotlight on their talent and create a free-to-enter championship and a sizable prize fund which will take them on to the next stage beyond W Series of being professional racing drivers.
We're doing this.
The lineup for the first W Series grid is complete. Now it's down to business. Next time, it's Hockenheim and racing for real.